Good morning, my name is Naveen Bakra and I'm here today to talk to you about capacity and decision making and how you may find something really useful here today that you've learned that you can apply in the future to help your loved ones as they get older. Capacity is a legal term and it refers to a person's ability to make decisions. When adults do have capacity, there's five things that they're able to show. So this is understanding and retaining the information regarding the decision, understanding the different options that they may have available to them, as well as understanding the pros and cons of each. They'll also be able to discuss with others the decision that they make, and they will be able to make that decision freely and by themselves. If a person does have a mental illness, a brain injury, or dementia, that does not necessarily impact their capacity or have an impact on their decision making ability. So, in other words, every adult is presumed to have capacity until proven otherwise. Capacity is important because it's what gives adults their right to make legally recognized decisions. These decisions can be about healthcare choices, support services, or even living situations and finances. I've come across many situations where if a person has been diagnosed with, say, dementia, instantly their families think they no longer have the capacity to make decisions on their own. So, this isn't necessarily the case. Legally, when proving a person does or does not have capacity, it is up to the individual who is challenging it to prove whether they have capacity or not. And to do this, you need to do what's called a capacity assessment. So, a capacity assessment can be carried out by a really wide range of people. It can be a family member, healthcare worker, a GP, or you can also request someone to carry out a capacity assessment. It's just important to remember that these assessments are simply an opinion and it can be reviewed or challenged. So, the Queensland Government has provided 6 guidelines to follow when making a capacity assessment that you may need to follow yourselves one day. So, the first step is identifying the decision that needs to be made. Then you'll need to identify that there is an actual reason for capacity to be assessed. Thirdly, you'll then need to apply the right legal test of capacity. Then you need to prepare for the assessment, and then comes the actual step of carrying out the assessment. And then the last step is documenting the results. So this final step, is very important that you write down somewhere what your results showed and your conclusion, as the assessment can be challenged in the future. These capacity guidelines can be used in a wide range of situations, whether it's an adult needing to give consent to a medical treatment, deciding a power of attorney, among others. So the Queensland Capacity Assessment Guide 2020 is a really good document that you should all take the time to read, as it has lots of great information regarding capacity assessments and further guidance on that. So there is legislation that is in place that is set up to support those with capacity issues in making complex decisions. So here in Queensland, we have the Powers of Attorney Act 1998. And in this piece of legislation, it describes what it means if a person has capacity. Queensland also has guardianship legislation, so that's through the Guardianship and Administration Act 2000. The purpose of this law is to help adults that need a little bit of extra assistance due to their impaired capacity, and it allows someone to support them with making decisions regarding any personal matters, health matters, and financial matters. And the important part here is that when helping them, we're not making the decision for them, but we're just supporting them and giving them any extra guidance and assistance that they may need. I'd just like to share with you guys some times where I've seen real life situations where adults need some help due to their capacity, and what we can learn from these situations to assist people in our real life day-to-day life to ensure that all adults still maintain their dignity and human rights. I've seen many families where an elderly parent may get diagnosed with, say, dementia, and as time goes on, they appear to be slowly declining and they're not really able to communicate quite the same and get on with their day-to-day activities like they used to do. Most of the time, their children will want to become their enduring power of attorney or their advanced health directive. And if you ever find yourself in this situation, I recommend you conducting a capacity assessment like what we went through earlier. So, in these circumstances, I would recommend using a general test of capacity. So, for this, there's 3 steps to follow. The first step is just making sure that the adult understands the nature and effect of the decision they are about to make. Next, they need to be able to make the decision freely and completely voluntarily. Lastly, they should be able to communicate the decision to you. I will also share that the Queensland Civil and Tribunal Court does also appoint guardianship and administration for adults with impaired capacity. So there's many ways you can offer support to family members that are facing capacity issues. I knew an elder lady who had impaired capacity and was quite limited in her speech as a result. I'll call her Lynette. So Lynette needed surgery one day. It was just a minor surgery, but it still required her to go under general anaesthetic and be in hospital for a few nights. What her daughter did was she came in and she took her time to slowly explain to Lynette what the surgery was and what she could, expect with the surgery at each step of it. She also took the time to tell her mum why she needed the surgery. Her daughter then asked Lynette to explain to her what the surgery was, what some of the steps were, what she may experience, and in her own words, why it was important. This is a great process that can be used in not just health decisions, but also financial and personal decisions. It allows the adult to understand at their own pace and still feel involved in their own life. So just to recount, capacity is a person's ability to make decisions. There are certain steps in place that show if a person has capacity. Anyone can do a capacity assessment, and in fact, someone here today may have to do a capacity assessment in the future. When making a capacity assessment, there are a 6-step guide to follow that the Queensland Government has published. I do hope by sharing those situations as well with you now, you're able to identify in your personal life when someone may be suffering from impaired capacity, and you're able to apply the right test and be able to properly support them in their decision making. If there is one thing I do highly recommend, it is that making yourselves familiar with the guidelines for assessing decision-making capacity, as it is an extremely useful resource. Thank you everyone for your time today, and I do hope you all learned at least one thing new today that you're able to take away with you. Thank you.